What's up, guys? It's another beautiful day in Portland, and today I want to talk about color grading because I know it is the most asked for video thus far. You guys want to know how I color grade my portraits, so I'm gonna do a series of 2 videos. The first one being portraits, okay? So when I go out and I shoot with the average person or someone doing a light cosplay, meaning not full costume, that's gonna be more of a subtle, subdued, as you've noticed, kind of edit. Whereas my full body costumes like Spider-Man are more vibrant, a little more edgy, a little darker. So today we're just gonna talk about portraits, and I'm gonna go through and show you guys how I edit most of my portraits. So I'll be using Lightroom, the newest version. Follow along, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. All right, guys, we are here in Lightroom Classic. This is the latest version. So first off, we're gonna start with my dear friend, Alexandria, cosplaying Marilyn Monroe. As you can see, she kills it. So let's just start down the list here, okay? But before we get into this, let's crop, because that's the first thing I always do, as you know. Let's make it 4x5, which is perfect Instagram dimensions, as I always state. So now that's cropped. So let's start with exposure, okay? For this, I'm gonna bring the exposure up just a little bit, okay? Let's say by, I don't know, 25. Okay, contrast I think is fine where it is. The highlights, however, I'm gonna bring down to, let's say, 28. And the shadows I think are fine. Let's see, the whites I would bring up a tad. Maybe right about there, I think is good. The blacks I think I'm gonna take down just a little bit. Maybe right about there. The clarity, I always bring down clarity, guys. When I'm doing portraits, I always bring down the clarity because we want a super smooth, crisp image. We don't want it harsh. So I'll bring the clarity down to about, I don't know, -14. Vibrance, I think, is fine. Saturation, I like to bring the saturation down, as you'll see in most of my portraits. They're more subtle, less saturated. So I'm gonna bring down the saturated to about -28. I think that's good. Let's come on down to the tone curve. And I think everything's fine except the darks are a little dark for me. So I'm gonna bring them up to about 40. Now let's go down here to point curve, okay? Click that little button there by point curve. Come on over here and we're going to grab this dot over here in the corner and we're gonna pull it to the side and bring it up about almost about halfway. And then come on over here between the first box and the second box. We're gonna come right here in the middle and we're gonna click, and you're gonna notice this little circle here, and you're just gonna hold and drag down to about the line. Pull it over so it's about in the middle here. I do this for almost all of my images. Okay, so there we go. Come on back and let's see, do we like the darks? We'll keep the darks at about 40 for now. Let's come on down to our colors here and let's start with red. I think red is fine as it is. Orange, I'm just gonna bring the saturation up just slightly to about there, I think is good. Yellows, I think are fine. Green, let's move this hue just slightly. Saturation, I think I'll bring it up to about 25. Luminance is good. Nothing here. Blue, I'm gonna bring the saturation of the blues up just slightly because I like the tint of blue in my photos. Let's say about 46 is good. The highlights, let's mess around with some highlights because I always like to bring in some highlights. Let's go right about 69 is good. And we'll bring the saturation, not much, maybe 10, as you can see, not much. And the shadows, let's mess around with the shadows. Usually I like to stick around 34 is good. And again, saturation, bring it up, not much, maybe 15. Perfect, there we go. As you can see, we're looking better. All right, all this is fine. Sharpening is good where it's at. Let's add some vignette, just slightly. All right, let's say maybe 12. Okay, we don't have to, for this, standard portraits, I usually don't mess with this stuff down here, the calibration. We will do that for the next edit when we do the cosplay, but for this, I don't think so. Now let's come on up here to the temperature, okay? Let's see, I wanna bring the temperature down just slightly. Let's bring this down to about, I think that's probably good. And the tint, I think it's a little pink right now. So I'm gonna bring it down just slightly. Let's maybe have it, right about there is good. Let's bring up the darks just slightly. And boom, there you go. That looks pretty dang good to me. Now let's see the before and after. Let me show you that right here. As you can see, guys, didn't change a whole lot, but this is a standard edit for me when I'm doing portraits, when I'm shooting with people. Now, let's say in case you don't know this, all right, let's say you've edited a photo and you want to save this preset so you can use the same settings for another photo and you don't have to go through and do exactly what I just did over again. Once you have the settings exactly the way you want it, come up over here where it says develop and go to new preset, all right? And that will save all those settings right here, name your preset, and that will save it, and then you'll have your presets that you've made over here. Now, this is one of the presets that I've made that I use quite often, as you'll see. And now when I use my preset, that saves me a lot of time to start with. Now you will have to adjust little things depending on the lighting and whatnot of each photo. You can never just slap on a preset and call it good. But this will give you a great starting point and save you a lot of time. Now, another thing you can do is, let's say, forget what I just said. So forget about the saving the preset here. Maybe you don't want to do that, but maybe just for this instance, You have all these photos that you've taken down here, and you know that you want to use the settings you just made on another photo just for this series. So come on up here, settings, copy settings, okay? That will copy all the settings you just did, and you can come on over here and go to a new photo and come up here to settings, paste settings, and there you go. And that's it, guys. There you have it. It's that simple. So I hope you learned something from that. I hope I didn't drone on. I feel like these videos are kind of boring, but if you guys are liking these tutorials, you want more videos, please make sure to let me know. All right, I enjoy making them, but only if you guys want them. So thank you and have a great day.